Hi guys. Before we left for NTI, we had been working on demand and how do we approach on-demand writing and identify things like the form, the audience, the purpose. We read lots of different on-demand prompts and analyzed those. Today we're going to do it a little bit different. Today we're going to look at a piece of writing that was done for an on-demand prompt, and then we're going to go back and write what that prompt might have looked like. I want to show you an example of what I'm talking about. So on this page, we have an article. It's not the article I want. Let me go back. Here it is. So on this page, we have an article written about cell phones. And our job is to read this piece that was written, and after reading it, think about what the writer was trying to achieve and write a possible on-demand prompt for this piece of work. So we know that we've got to create what was the writing situation. The writing situation is what background information the writer might have been given. And the second part we have to write is the writing task. We have to think about the form, the audience, the purpose, and all of this would have been described here as directions to the writer. So this time we have the article, so we already have the piece that was written, and our job is to go back and figure out what would have been the writing situation and what was the writer specifically asked to do. So let me talk you through how I would approach this. I'm looking at this piece and I'm noticing a couple of things right off. The first thing is that it has a title. I know that letters usually don't have titles, so this must be an article. So I already know one thing that I'm going to put in the writing directions, that the writer has to write an article. The next thing I've got to figure out is the purpose and the audience. So to do this, I've got to take a really close look at what the writer was trying to do. Let's read just the lead together. What is school for? It's to help kids be smart. And what's the best tool for that? Teachers would probably say it was a textbook, but it's not. Math teachers will say it's a calculator, and English teachers might think it's a novel. Parents probably think it's attendance, but it isn't any of these things. The best tool for helping students is a cell phone. Okay, so just from the lead, I've learned a few things. This writing piece is all about having students have access to cell phones. I'm also noticing that the tone is very formal. I don't think that they're talking to another student. It sounds like they're trying to persuade adults to have cell phones in school. Let's read a little bit more and see what else the author has done. There's a reason that most cell phones are sold now are called smartphones. They can do just about anything. They can be textbooks, calculators, novels, and organizers, all in one little package. What else would the student need? Now, as I keep reading, I notice that they give some anecdotal evidence on why the cell phones would be important in schools. This was when the student was out sick, and they were able to get organizers sent to them so that they could stay on top of things. The next argument is that they're lightweight and easy to carry around. Instead of the textbooks, they could just use the cell phones. And they even have a counter claim that not every student has a cell phone, but maybe the school could provide them. So if they're talking about the school providing cell phones, I'm thinking that the audience has to be someone that's involved with school policy making. Let's go ahead and read the closing. Smartphones are only getting smarter. Shouldn't we do the same? Whether we are reading and taking notes from a science book, making a video for Arts Humanities, or watching the biography of Martin Luther King, cell phones can do it all. Doesn't it just make sense to join the future? Okay, so it is a call to action at the end. They're telling them that all students need to have cell phones in order to join the future. So let me go back and think about what I have to do. Writing situation. So again, they're trying to change a school policy, and I know that the people that change a school policy is the Site-Based Decision-Making Council. So I think that might be part of the background knowledge that the writer would have been given. So I'm going to say the SBDM is considering changing the school's policy on the use of cell phones. Many students and parents believe it could be a useful tool in education. Okay, I believe this gives the reader a little bit of background. Let me reread what I wrote here. The SBDM is considering changing the school's policy on the use of cell phones. Many students and parents believe it could be a useful tool in education. Okay, that sounds like a pretty good background information. They know that who they're writing to and kind of what is the purpose. They may even have some words in there that they could use in their own lead. Now I'm going to be more specific. What is the writing task? What specifically could this writer have been asked to do? Well, we know that they had to write an article to the SBDM. Write an article to the SBDM Council and the purpose I know is persuading. So I have to include that for the purpose. Persuading them to allow students to use cell phones in the classroom. Write an article to the SBDM Council persuading them to allow students to use cell phones in the classroom. Do I have the form? Form's an article. The audience is the SBDM Council, and the purpose, persuading them to use phones in the classroom. I think we did a pretty good job. Now, that doesn't mean that this was the exact prompt, but these directions would certainly follow the goals of what the writer has accomplished. Now, your job is to do the same thing. We are going to give you another article. This one looks like this. Oh, I already gave away the form. But you're going to read another writing piece, read through it carefully, and then go back. What could have been the writing situation? What would have been the background information given to the reader? And then what is the writing task? That's where you include the form, audience, and purpose. All right, guys, good luck.